Grab your coffee, Pastor Bob's Coffee Break. Right ahead. Having a little Headbangers brew this morning. I'm happy to announce we've decided to keep this all the time. Joe Mama Coffee, it's probably our most popular. I'm so glad you like it. We had decided just to do a winter blend, and it's been so popular we're going to keep it. So you can still order Joe Mama and all of our cool stuff, our mugs, our t-shirts, right here. We're metalwearfamily.com. Here's an interesting question. Dear Pastor Bob, it seems there is a trend going around with many Christians being obsessed with certain spiritual gifts, especially the fivefold ministry gifts of the Spirit. I understand these gifts are important for the edification of the body of Christ, but I'm curious as to why so much emphasis is placed on these gifts. Is this a healthy practice? It seems like other spiritual gifts are being neglected as a result. How should we handle this? Well, I agree. And let me talk about the fivefold spiritual gifts. And they're found here in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11. And it says, and his gifts to the church were varied, and he himself appointed some as apostles, special messengers, representatives, some as prophets who speak a new message from God to the people, some as evangelists who spread the good news of salvation, some as pastors and teachers to shepherd and guide and instruct. Fivefold. Those five things. And these were appointed by Jesus. Now, that's a special thing. Appointed by Jesus. One of the qualifications of an apostle, and this is debated widely among Christians, is that they needed to be personally had seen the resurrection, the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and seen Jesus personally. And they were appointed by Jesus. A lot of controversy. Are they still around today? Well, however we believe about that, I think the church focus is a little off on this, because this isn't what makes a church powerful. What makes a church powerful is when we use our spiritual gifts together to build each other up. And what are those gifts? I would go to another place. Romans chapter 12, starting with verse 6. And here we have what we've called the motivational gifts, or the special gifts that each one of us have that kind of dictate our personalities and how we act and interact with people. Here's what it says. Since we have gifts that differ according to the grace given to us, each of us is to use them accordingly. If someone has the gift of prophecy, let him speak a new message from God to his people. By the way, prophecy in the Old Testament was foretelling the future. Prophecy in the New Testament is basically forthtelling, speaking from God to the people. Anyway, foretelling and forthtelling. Let him speak a new message from God to his people in proportion to the faith that he possesses. If service, in the act of serving, or he who teaches in the act of teaching, or he who encourages in the act of encouragement, he who gives with generosity, he who leads with diligence, he who shows mercy in caring for others with cheerfulness. Well, there we have it. Prophecy, service, teaching, giving, exhortation, administration, mercy. 7 gifts. And in my experience over all of these years, folks, there are some that we use interchangeably, but there's usually one spiritual gift that kind of dictates how we act and react, and it's how we fit into the body and how we all work together. I've heard it said that it's like It's like a wheel. And I'm standing over here, you're standing over here, this person's standing over here. We're all standing in different places. Jesus is in the middle. I see this view of him, you see this view of him, you see this view of him. And we all see him from different views, but it's the same person. But I see him according to my gift. And my gift is very important to me because it's the one God's given me to and my gift is very important to me because it's the one God's given me to act and interact with all of you with. So what about these? Prophecy, kind of the eyes of the body of Christ. That's the part of the body that prophecy is. Service would be the hands, serving the church, teaching, the mind, the body of Christ. Giving would be the arms outstretched to the body of Christ. Exhortation, the mouth of the body of Christ. Administration, the head, kind of organizing, administrating. Mercy, the heart. All part of the body, different parts, but the same body. And folks, that's why this is so important. When we look at the church, this is the church, and this is a building on top. And the church is people, not a building. People. And it's the people that make church what it is. It's us interacting together. And that's why I have so many difficulties with churches where they're just a spectator sport. You just go, you sit, you listen, you go home. It's not what church was meant to be. This is what church is meant to be. Interacting with each other, building each other up. Now, let me just say this real quick, and we'll talk about this a lot more, but the pastor has one of these gifts. Now, he may operate in more than one from time to time, but he possesses one of them. What does that mean to the body of Christ? Listen to me. It means he's unbalanced. He always is. I'm unbalanced. You're unbalanced. The thing that balances us is being the church together, all together, because that's the body of Christ. And God didn't call us to be Lone Ranger Christians, but to be a body of Christ. Well, again, we're going to talk about this a lot more. I'm writing about it right now in my new book that'll be out before the end of the year, and it's our poster of the month, Teach, Meet, Eat, Pray. That's what church is all about, according to Acts chapter 2, verse 42. Well, folks, don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.